Once again, I am back here with Project Zippy. She's pretty much right where we left off on the last video with getting the motor in. The only thing I have done off camera was I went ahead and I got all our wiring hooked up. So everything here is back in. Again, not that hard, not that entertaining, it's just matching up the colors. So all of that is done and ready to go. I think the next thing we're going to do today is we'll go ahead and throw our front sprocket on here, our chain on here, and then we'll start doing little odds and ends like throwing the handlebar controls on, getting our airbox and stuff put on, our intake. So we're down to pretty much just all of these little nitpicky things we have to work on. Which means before long we're going to be hitting the ignition on this guy for the first time and firing her back up, hopefully. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up as you guys watch. And let's get to work. So there's not a whole lot to put in this sprocket on. It's basically, there's three pieces here. You have this little spacer clip that, if you notice, has these little tabs in it right here that just simply line up to allow that to slide on and grab a hold. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to slide our actual sprocket on itself. And then this has a little clip here that will actually go on and then twist into place. Oops, I went too far. Once you get it lined up the right way, you gotta get to fit in that groove just right. There we go. And then that offsets the tabs in that to the tabs here so that it won't pull off. When I was tearing this apart, I thought, how in the world does that stay on there? But it's actually quite clever. And it won't go anywhere. Alright, just got to fish chain through here now. Get my arm in your guys' way. Make sure to block your view so you can't see. Now we'll have to kind of fish this around. There's a little bit of room in there. I don't think enough to get the chain. So we'll stick her on the sprocket here and spin her around like so. And just slowly work it down the skid till we can grab a hold of it. Make sure my gloves get all stuck and caught. Nah. Voila! And as you guys can see here, I got the pre-cut length chain, so all I have to do is undo the master link, hook it together, and then we'll have to take and slide our rear end up to get the proper chain slackness, and that'll be good to go. Alright, we got our chain on there, our slack is pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and throw the little guard over the front sprocket here, and we will be ready to move on. And this goes which way? This way. And I'm going to go ahead and put my crankcase breather hose on, because knowing me, that is something I'm liable just to completely forget to do. So we'll throw her on there. And I'm going to go ahead and run this breather hose back into where my rear drum brakes is. It just kind of roots through hereabouts, like so. Pinch down over, and then this end here plugs in right there. I'm going to throw the old seat on here just so I have a place to sit down, because I think I'm going to work on next. Maybe. Is grabbing the hand controls And we'll go ahead and start throwing them back on. Now these handlebars here is off an old ATC Honda 3-wheeler, but it's pretty much the same, except there's this little, like a tab, I guess, right here. May have to grind that off for these controls to go on, but let's see how she goes first. So I have here the original switches for the lights, the start button, which I don't know if the start button still works anymore. This guy had a bypass, the solenoid with like a bypass button. We are gonna try her and see if she still works. If not, might be able to rewire the switch. So now it's just a matter of passing these guys on here, and I am gonna have to grind that tab off. Yep. Okay. So there. I had to grind down a tab.
Why was there stuff cleaning?
It sparks from using the grinder.
Oh yeah, it does smell stinky.
Now you guys haven't been outside. You go play.
Daddy?
Play outside.
No, what?
It's nice. Play outside.
I'm soaking wet.
You're soaking wet. How'd you get soaking wet?
Why? I'm soaking wet.
Was you playing in the water? Now, where'd I put my switch? Alright, let's see. Now she fits. Perfect. Alright, now let's see. Right there like that. Start, turn a little bit. Kill switch. Lights high, low, on, off. Think that'll work right there. Oh, now I got a brand spanking new, like I showed you guys in the last video, a new reverse lever, complete with the park and brake mechanism. So that is good. Put this on next. All right. So there's that side. And my cables and stuff are right here, ready to go. Oh, I wonder if this cable's any good. Where's my old one? It's probably not in any better shape. So after looking those brake cables over, they were both kind of shot. The cable inside, most of these cables have that plastic sheathing around. Well, it was kind of deteriorated and caught inside, so the actual cable couldn't slide to engage the brake. So I'm going to go ahead and order just a new brake cable. My reverse cable here is fine. It's working good. It's engaging the lever down there, so that's fine. So again, I'm going to get a new brake cable and just have it so I know it works. So let's go ahead and start hooking up now. Our other side. Alright guys, so I made a little progress here. We've got all our handlebar controls on. Our new brake master cylinder is on and ready to go. I just need to add a little brake fluid to that, which I have yet to get. I did go ahead and throw our little gauge cluster on here. And I got all the wiring and everything hooked up to that. This here I believe is the wiring for the headlight. But all the other wiring here is hooked up. Next thing I think I'm going to do is grab one of these carburetors here. Again, this is the one that went on Zippy. I think we're going to use this one though, just for the sheer fact that if you look at them, this one is not near as dirty as this one. So let's tear into the float bowl. We'll check our jets, give her a quick cleaning, and we'll throw her on there. She'll be ready for some motion. Alright, let's see what we have. it looks pretty good. Pretty clean inside, which is a good sign. That means there wasn't a lot of old fuel set in this and gel everything up. I'm going to give this a quick shot here. One thing my gasket kit didn't come with was new gaskets and stuff for the carburetor. Those are separate kits you have to buy. So I may end up having to get one of those to replace this rubber seal here. This one is still soft, so it might be okay. We won't know till we install it and run a little fuel through it. Alright, let's check our jets out here. I think what I am going to do is go ahead and clean this one up a little bit too. I'll tear them both apart here at the same time, see which one's in better shape as far as internals. I could always combine the two. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut to a time lapse, and once I figure out which carburetor is in better shape and get everything put back together, we'll stop the time lapse and cut back to throw in the carburetor on the machine. Well, that was an awful short time lapse, and the reason being, once I tore into Zippy's original carburetor, you can see here how the inside, I mean, look at that main jet there. It is just really rusted, corroded, even the floats, you can see wear. And as I look into the float bowl, there is an awful, how's the lighting? Let me see. There is an awful amount of sludge and gunk in the bottom of that, which I'm sure has plugged up all our jets. So, looking at that, compared to this one is much better, it's much cleaner. We're just going to ignore this mess here, and we're going to go with this one. So I'm going to just give our jets a quick cleaning, clean them out, throw this guy back together, and we'll throw it on Zippy. Alright, I got my winning carburetor here. We're going to go ahead and throw her on, and then we can get our Airbox cleaned up and on, and then we don't have to worry about the critters getting in there and building a nest. Right, like that. Oh, this is going to be fun getting these little guys in on this side. A little tricky, but definitely doable. I don't have much room for turning, so this may take a while. I'll cut to when I got this done. Alright, our carburetor is in and looking snug as a bug in a rug. And as you can see, or not, she's working beautifully, nice and smooth. Alright, so now, I say we go ahead and get our Airbox cleaned up here a little bit. The filter that's in it, yeah, hold on, let me. So, we'll get this guy cleaned up and we can throw it on. This is a fairly new filter. It's in good shape. She looks like she just needs cleaned up a little bit. Needs cleaned up, re-oiled, and we'll be good there. And we got lots of parts in here. This is the hose that goes from the carburetor to the Airbox. And we've got various mouse nestery in there. clamp, and this is the guy that holds, and this is the guy that holds her in place, and the nut. So let's clean her up and throw her in, and then we'll be about ready to fire her up. We'll just have to what are we gonna do? Install our battery, hopefully the electric start works, hook up our gas tank, which won't take too much, and we'll be ready to see if this guy's gonna fire. Oh, exhaust. I better hook the exhaust up too. She'll be awful loud. Tell you what, let's go ahead and throw the new exhaust on there, and then we'll clean up. Then I'll worry about cleaning up the airbox and throwing that on there. And the nice thing about the gasket kit is it even came with a header gasket, which is real nice. Throw that guy in there. Spider, get out of there. And this guy we'll put in there loosely. Alright, let's just do that loose so we can still move this till we get our tailpipe on. Oh, wait a minute here. This ain't quite jiving, is it? So I may end up having to do... Oh, dummy! This goes on that... I'm a moron, guys. I know. I'm a moron sometimes. This pipe needs to go on the inside of the frame member. What am I thinking? Duh. Sometimes you just get a little too excited to think about what you're doing. That'll fit much better this way. Sometimes I can be a moron, but most times I'm more on than off. We'll just give this a snug again as my battery gets close to dying. Give it some play. Camera's beeping at me saying the battery's about to die, so I'll go ahead. Everything is going to line up quite beautifully now, as you guys can see. So I'll go ahead and cut to this finish, change my battery, and then we'll get our airbox cleaned up and throw it on there. Alright guys, as you can see, we got our exhaust all on Zippy here. I got my airbox all cleaned up and throw on there. New filter cleaned, oiled, ready to go. So I think the next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and get my choke cable thrown on here. I do have my new brake line here that we're going to go ahead and run to the rear brakes. And I am going to have to try to get this here loosened up because this brake, oh boy, is super stiff. The foot brake for the rear, oh, you can see that. I don't know if it's bent in here, but it just doesn't want to move very well. So I'm going to have to see if I can't free that one up. Maybe that's bent or something. I got my other one set out there to go on if need be. So I'm going to go ahead and throw these two cables back on, and then I'll check back in with you guys. Alright, choke cable was easy enough. It just ran from here along the frame here in the little holder right here, and then down into the choke lever on the carburetor. As you can see, we're working good. So let's get our brake cable hooked up, and it'll run down the other side. We'll run it across and down and do our rear brake. Well guys, we got our brake cable hooked up now. As you can see, she's down there working. So that's good. I think I already showed you that our reverse cable and everything down there is working. You guys can... Where is it? Gotta get it engaged here. You gotta push down the button. That engages the lower lever. And you can see that guy lifting down there. So, I think that's a good place to end this video for today. All we have left to do before we can fire this guy is clean up our gas tank. Remember, this is the original gas tank. I did get a donor gas tank because you guys can see here, this one kind of seeps fuel a little bit. This guy's in good shape, so we're going to give it a clean up, rinse the inside out, make sure there's no dirt and crud. Then we can hook it up to the carburetor and see if this guy will fire for the first time. So on the next video with Zippy, we should be starting this guy up. Fingers crossed. So I hope you liked today's video. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up before you leave. Subscribe if you're new to my channel. Also a little update. As far as my website, I'm not going to renew my subscription for Wix because it just kind of took a giant leap up. And that's a lot of money to throw into a website I really don't have time to do much with. I'd rather put that money into parts. So as far as buying merchandise and everything, go to the link in the description below. I now have another Teespring site set up where I'm offering t-shirts, mugs. I'll soon be offering hats. I'll actually be able to bring you guys a lot more merchandise here in the future. So again, if you're wanting to buy Appalachian Mountain Riders t-shirts, be it adult or kid sizes I have available now, as well as mugs currently in the store, then head over to the link in my description below. Your support of AMR and Patreon is always appreciated. Don't forget I'm bringing a lot more exclusive content for my Patreon supporters. Again, thanks for watching, and until next time, keep on riding.